Lily saved $60 in February. This amount was a 20% increase from what she saved in January. The amount she saved in March was a 15% decrease from what she saved in February. What was the total amount that Lily saved from January to March? The answer here is $161. You notice that this is a 3-mark question, which tells you that the question is not so straightforward. How many of you got this correct? Good. Now, percentage comparison, quite a few things to remember. If you get part A correct, you should be able to get part B correct. If you get part A wrong, then your B will automatically be wrong. Pretty much, because it's reliant on the answer from part A. Part B, if you want to know, is 2%. But let's look at part A first. You save $60 in February. And this was a 20% increase from what she saved in January. So can you tell me which is your 100%? Whatever is the earlier month is always your 100% when you're doing comparison across time for percentage. So in this particular case, January is 100%, which means if she saved an amount of 20% increase, that means your $60 here, your February here is 120%. Okay, that part, I don't think anybody will get it wrong. But if you got this wrong, be very careful. Your earlier month, generally speaking, is your 100%. Now, the tricky part is this, where they tell you that the amount she saved in March was a 15% decrease. And this is where students tell me March is 105% because 120 minus 15. Correct or wrong? Wrong. If you did it this way, you will get the wrong answer. Okay, that is not how percentage comparison works. You cannot straight away take 120% minus 15% because they have different denominators. It's just like I cannot tell you 100% of $50 is the same as 75% of $200. No what? One is 100%, one is 75%. Are you going to tell me the 100% is more than the 75%? No, 75% of $200 is more than 100% of $50. You cannot directly take the percentage and compare like that when they have different denominators. In other words, they're referring to different quantities. In a percentage comparison, when they tell you the amount saved in March is a 15% decrease, you must now set your February back to 100% because it is the earlier month. So the 15% decrease would mean that March will be 85%, but 85% of February. Okay, so if you do this by ratio, or you can do this by ratio, you can do this by percentage, you can find what is the amount that she saved in January first. So in January, March, sorry. So 120%, which is your February in this case, is $60. Okay, don't go and find 1%, even though it's not wrong because it's a calculator question, but you find nice numbers like 20%. So 60 divided by 6 to give you $10. And then you go and find what is 100%. Your 100% here is represented by what is January, which is 10 times 5 to give you $50. That is January. Okay, so I'm just going to write that here. But in the second set of comparison, now February is your 100%, no longer 120%, because we are comparing against something different now. And it is the basis of the comparison. So February will be your 100% now when you're comparing against March. Okay? Same thing, don't go and find, this one you want to find 85%, so it's a bit more challenging. So maybe you just go and find 1%. Okay, and then your March is actually 85%. This is where you press your calculator. Okay, and that will give you $51. So you see that when you're comparing against different things, even though in both cases we are comparing against February, it seems like February is a repeated identity, but when you do it in percentage wise, be very, very careful. They are different percentages. This is against January, while this is against March. They are different. Okay, in both cases, we are using February, but you notice that the percentages for what February represents is different. Okay, so from here, you can now find your total, which is January plus February plus March to give me $161. There is a way to do it by ratio using repeated identity. You make February a repeated identity also can, if you prefer that. Okay, I'm just going to very briefly show you. I'm just going to very quickly show you if what happens if I make Feb my repeated identity. So Jan to Feb was in the ratio, this is 120, this is 100. Correct? Then Feb to March is in the ratio 100 to 85. That is how it would look like if you do it by repeated identity. You actually don't go and find all the way because February is $60, so you divide by 2, you will get January amount straight away. Then this one, if you want, you divide by 5 to give you 20. This will give you 17. And then you need to make February 60, right? So you times 3, this will give you 51. You notice that that is exactly what we get. So it is possible to do it by repeated identity as well. Okay. Now, once you get part A, part B is the easy one. Like I said just now, part B is 2%. Why is it 2%? What's the percentage increase from March compared to January? So first things first, we know that January is $50. We know that March is $51. So your percentage increase is difference over original. Now be very careful, your original must always be your earlier month in this case. Then you times 100%, and that will give you 2. It's a 2-mark question, so you must show me the step. The ratio version looks kind of hard. Then don't do by ratio lah. Just go and do percentage.
Do we get a break after this? After paper 2?
Yes.
Yay.
Okay.